Good morning to all my beautiful mortgage brokers out there in the Follow Up Boss community. I know you guys are few, but I still want to make sure that I take care of you all. My name is Nicolas and I'm with Leaf360. And today I want to talk about one of the most underutilized features in Follow Up Boss across mortgage companies, especially, which is the Smart List feature. Now, for those of you that don't know what Smart Lists are, they're amazing lists that you can set up all sorts of custom filters to essentially filter clients into here smartly, intelligently. And it doesn't need to be manual, meaning I don't need to click on a client and move them into this list. I can set up filters and create parameters for when a client meets those parameters that they actually fall into these lists. Make sense? To keep it simple, for example, this application pending list is simply if any client has a stage application pending, throw them into this list. That doesn't mean I have to change the stage and then drop them into the list manually. No, it's going to recognize that they have that. You can get very custom with these lists, but I'm not going to get into that right now. But anyways, what I want to talk about is, once again, going into the smart list, how this is such an underutilized feature across many mortgage brokers that I work with. And the reason I say that is because I think that smart lists are going to be are literally a game changer in terms of how mortgage companies operate. We're very used to not nurturing our clients for some reason. I noticed that a lot of mortgage companies are not nurturing their prospects, which is anything I consider application pending all the way to pre-approved. And we really just focus on the ones that are actually under contract. Now, what we often forget is that, hey, every single one of these contracts that we're closing started off as a brand new lead. So we need to make sure that we're not only nurturing them, but we're also staying on top of them as much as possible by actually picking up the phone and calling. I hated when I was originating that I had to create tasks and reminders to call every single client. I mean, client tells me, they want to apply, and I'm like, okay, great, let me create a task, right? And I have 10 clients that want to apply, and I have 10 tasks that I have to go through, and I'm busy doing a whole bunch of other things that sometimes I forget to actually go through these tasks. And as these tasks start to compile, it can become very overwhelming. And this is kind of where I found out about SmartList when using Follow Up Boss for the first time, and how it literally changed the game for me, where now I use zero tasks, I have zero reminders set up, and I operate entirely inside of these smart lists. A lot of mortgage companies I work with, they do the same. They've been able to replicate that process, eliminate tasks completely. I'm not saying tasks aren't good. If they work for you, that's great. But I really hate having to look at a whole bunch of stuff on my today's list, my overdue, my future. I got zero in here, and I like to keep it that way. So let's go back to the people stage. So I really want to kind of take you guys through these smart lists that I have set up. These are going to be perfect. You can replicate them, mimic them however you'd like. If you have any questions, leave a comment down below. But this is the application pending smart list. So this video is going to be a little bit long, so stick around and you guys can fast forward if you want. But I really want to go through each one of these in depth for those of you that actually care to watch this. So the application pending smart list, let's start off with that. We'll notice Jason Perret in here. So the way that this smart list works is it's very simple. It's just looking for people that have the stage application pending. Now, what I've created is an automation that I can share with you that quite literally, the second a stage gets changed to application pending, it will create a note on file. It will run the action plan, obviously. And inside of the action plan, there's a series of emails. You'll notice there's actually a friend of mine. He unsubscribed. But there's a series of emails that will go out that essentially you can have pre-templated. And for example, this one, hey, it was so nice speaking with you. Like I mentioned before, family-owned company. You can apply using this link, yada, yada, yada. It has the nice Google reviews. So this is just an example of a templated email. And what I've done is I've created about 6 emails, I believe, that go out periodically, once a week or so. And what's happening is until the client actually applies, where we either manually change the stage or it's recognized in the LOS and we have it automated dropping into FUB, the stage change, those emails are going to continue to go out. What is the benefit of that? There's a few. First and foremost, you're staying in front of the client. You're reminding them, if I click back in again under marketing emails, you're reminding them that, hey, you want them to apply. If they have not applied, they will continue to receive these emails until you manually stop it or until they actually apply. You're staying in front of them. You're not losing these clients. Secondly, you're not creating tasks and reminders for yourself to have to call back these clients because you have them disorganized all over the place. You have all of your application pending clients in one place inside of one list where every single day you can base it off of last communication, see who you haven't talked to in a while, and then go ahead and give them a call. If there's a client that tells you, hey, I'm not going to be available for the next few days, great. Now you can put a reminder for yourself, hey, call back in 4 days, or put a note on file. But the point is this is going to help you organize your system a lot more. Now let's talk about the applied. Let's say you have Follow Up Boss connected to your Arive or lending pad. This is going to be a great way for anytime a client applies for them to get dropped into this list automatically. You don't have to actually drop it in yourself. So let's take a look at, for example, Elvis. This one bounced, right? Like, guys, these are fake emails I'm using. These are my buddies. But the point is that they actually do work. And if I showed you guys an example of actual live emails going out, you'd be surprised how often clients are opening and clicking these. So this one is a very simple smart list. It's keeping track of all the clients that have applied. You'll notice the stage over here is applied. We have an email that automatically goes out. Hey, Elvis, thanks for submitting your mortgage application. Here's what to expect next. Document review, processing, updates. If you have any questions or need assistance, please don't hesitate to reach out. P.S. If you know anybody who could benefit, please let us know. I always ask for the referral. On every single email I create, I always ask for the referral. As we get further along the line, I always like to ask for reviews as well. I think it's very important to do that. If you don't ask, you won't receive, right? If you don't knock on the door, nobody's going to open it. So this is a list of, once again, all of the clients that have applied. You can sort this out by last communication, by last call, however you want to do. You can add all sorts of different columns in here to see the last email that they sent. You can see the last call. Let's just say this. Maybe let's see this. Maybe we want to see the price. They applied. If there's a price in there, we can see what tags are on the client's profile as well. You can add all sorts of different columns, and you can actually save that list and update it. So once again, this is your applied smart list. This is going to keep track of all your people that have applied. Why is this a good idea, guys? I mean, I've said it over and over again. I want to know who just applied. I don't want to have to always reference my LOS, my Arive, my lending pad. I want to be able to go in Follow Up Boss because Follow Up Boss is a beautiful mobile app. I make all my calls from here. I make all my texts, all my emails. I want to know at a quick glance how many clients I have that applied that have not really moved forward to the next step, which is qualification. Now, the qualification phase. This is a beautiful phase. Qualification is pretty much exactly what it sounds like. It's where you're actually qualifying the client. So if you notice, Jason, my buddy, he has not unsubscribed from me. So we have the stage is qualification right here. And as soon as that stage was created, you'll notice we have this email right here that went out. Hey, Jason, thanks for submitting your documents. We're actively reviewing them as part of the pre-underwriting process. That's what I call it. Team is working diligently to move your application forward. We'll keep you updated on the progress and let you know the next step soon. P.S. If you know anyone else who could benefit from our services, please let us know. I'm telling you guys, I ask for referrals on every single email. Now, this one just got sent out on the 11th. I believe the qualification emails, there's only about 1 or 2 that actually get sent out. The reason for that is because, especially if you're working in Arive, right? For those of you that are using Arive, I pretty much mimic these stages based off Arive. You'll know that when a client is in the qualification stage, if you're doing good practice, that means that you've received everything you need in order to pre-approve it for the most part. And really, they shouldn't be sitting there in that stage for too long. If they are sitting in that stage for too long, you need to move them back to applied like that. And that's going to trigger a whole new action plan, right? Assuming you have it set to continuously trigger. I have it set so that way, if it already ran, it's not going to run twice. But this is a demo file, so it's actually going to kick off the original one. But the point is that if the client is under qualification and you realize that, hey, maybe we don't have enough, or maybe they don't qualify, it's best to change their stage to an actual nurture campaign. Maybe something as in credit repair, missing assets, missing income. Those could be great stage changes. You can put a tag on there as well. You could have a tag that says missing income. And then if I save that, it can actually trigger another action plan. I would only leave the client under qualification if I'm confident that we have enough documents to review it. And maybe I have a loan partner or an LOA that actually wants to review the file. So what you could also do, and this is something that I notice a lot of mortgage companies I work with do, is when it gets to qualification, the loan officer kind of goes, they go hands off, and they have like a loan partner that will essentially review the file. So a loan partner is waiting for any clients to pop up in here. They don't need a task. They don't need a reminder. The second they see anybody pop up into this list, they have it open. They're working on their desktop. They go ahead, they log in, bam, they qualify the client. They get the notes back to the loan officer. This is how it would pretty much look. They could leave a note that says like, hey, client is ready to be pre-approved, missing credit pull, only soft pull, right? So maybe they only did a soft pull, and the pre-qualifier or the pre-underwriter, whatever you want to call it, the loan partner, they're like, hey, Mr. Loan Officer, client's ready to be pre-approved, but we need a hard credit pull. Can we get the credit pull? Can you contact the client? Let me know if it's okay. Once we get it, I'll review the liabilities, make sure everything's good, make sure the credit score is good, make sure we can get a DU or LP approval, and then bam, obviously we're going to move it over. Now, let's talk about pre-approved. Anytime you send out a pre-approval letter or you click pre-approved in the LOS, assuming it's connected to Follow Up Boss, it will automatically move the clients into here. So if we go over here, we can notice George. George has actually had a good amount of emails going out to him since the beginning. So this is a good example of a client that's been receiving a few different emails. You'll notice over here, he has like a homeowner's guide on this one, financial tips to get ready for his mortgage, and another one, his guide to a smooth mortgage application. And so you'll notice a few different emails going out as you shop for your dream home. And we even have a review link on here. And if they click on this, it's going to actually take them to the Google business page. If I click on that over there, you'll see it takes them right there to the page. So that's great. Having that on there, especially on your pre-approval action plans, I think that's super important. A lot of loan officers underestimate how many clients are likely to leave a review at the pre-approved stage. And what also happens often is you might pre-approve a client in your LOS, but because of the fact that it's not being monitored in your CRM, they only get one email and they're at the mercy of you actually remembering to call them. So it's very important to have a list of pre-approvals inside of Follow Boss, in my opinion. You'll notice over here, I see he's pre-approved for 450,000, looking to buy a single family home and put down 20% conventional. So that could be a great opportunity to even put conventional loan as a tag, which if you're connected to like Arive or LendingPad, it'll automatically pull in. And then obviously the stage over here is pre-approved. So now I can see I have 3 pre-approved clients and I want to base it off the last communication. I like basing it off of old to new because if I just spoke with a client yesterday, I want them to go to the bottom of the list. I don't want every time I speak with a client that they just go back to the top of the list, because if I do that, then you'll notice George is at the top of the list. The reason he is because these clients don't actually have any communication, but George does. So he's technically the newest. So I'm going to leave it as old to new. So that way I can always prioritize calling the people who I have not spoken with in a little while. So that's your pre-approved list. You'll notice over here, especially on the right side, I have like a filter that says last communication was more than 3 days ago, meaning if the client is pre-approved and I've spoken with them in the last 3 days, it actually removes them from the list. And it's not forever, it's just temporary for 3 days. And the reason for that is because as my pre-approvals start to stockpile, I don't want to look at a list of 20, 30, 40, 50 people every single day. I want to just look at who I need to talk to. So I'll show you guys something cool. You notice how the filter says last communication more than 3 days ago. Watch what happens if I call Ellington. If I click call and I just log a call, he's no longer in the list. Why is that? Because of this filter. It recognizes that he was called within the last 3 days, so it removed them. If I remove that filter, bam, Ellington pops back up. So that's how that filter works. If you guys have questions about that, let me know. I'll be more than happy to make a video on that as well. Now let's talk about processing. This is everything from file setup all the way to clear to close. Super cool. We have the closing date pulling in from Arive on here, and the stage obviously as well. So I can organize my pipeline by closest closing date all the way to the latest. So obviously I'm behind on these because these are already technically closed, right? If I notice I have closing dates that are September 23rd and October 2nd, and it is currently December 23rd, it's a big issue, right? This should not be in file setup or loan setup or disclosed or submitted to underwriting if we're way past that closing date. So there could be a few reasons that they're here. Either one, I'm not updating my dates in my LOS, or two, I'm just a very terrible mortgage broker who cannot manage my pipeline and I'm losing a lot of business, right? But no, seriously, I know a lot of us are doing our best effort out there. But like I said, guys, by connecting to Follow Boss to your LOS, this is going to make your life a lot easier. And obviously with the smart list, it's a game changer. I can see every single one of my clients that are under contract on here. I'm not going to get too into detail on this one. But if I open up Tony Stark, for example, I mean, this client, he has 5 deals going on right now, so I can keep track of all that. I see the stage is clear to close. I have all these different tags that are pulling in. This one's a little bit more hefty. We got a lot of notes on here. This is my oldest demo file back from November of 2023. So, Tony Stark gets a lot of love. But that's our processing smart list. So this once again keeps track of all of your active contracts. Then we have our closed and funded. We obviously notice a difference between a closed client and a funded client and a past client. So what I consider a closed and funded client is somebody that's signed closing docs, it hasn't necessarily funded yet. Funded is obviously going to be somebody that the loan has funded. And then a past closing is going to be something that's been finalized, meaning all broker checks have been received. We've done our compliance check. We've made sure everything is good in case we get audited. Whatever it is, that's what I consider a past closing. So closed and funded is really, like I said, it's going to be that initial process of the closing. It's going to be the funding stage. And then our past closing is like when we know, hey, we 100% did everything good. The client's good to go. For my past closings, you'll notice I have a filter on here. I like to actually create it so that the last call is more than 30 days ago, meaning I call every single one of my past clients once a month. So if I called them yesterday, they will disappear from my list for the next 30 days. As your past clients start to stockpile and you start to have a lot more, what's going to happen is you're going to have a list of 2, 3, 4, 500 past clients that a few years down the line, or if you're doing really great, 1 or 2 years down the line. Um, and what's going to happen is you're going to look at that list and you're going to have anxiety. You're not going to want to call them because you're looking at a list of 500 people. But if I can look at a list every single day and I'm calling my past clients every single month and I only have to call 10 on Monday and then 20 on Tuesday and then 30 on Wednesday and then another 5 on Thursday, that's going to be a game changer because of the fact that what happens as mortgage brokers is we want to call our clients once or twice a year, maybe every quarter. But you're missing out on a lot of potential referral opportunities because, you know, things come up all the time in clients' lives. It's not just necessarily, hey, thanks for calling me every 3 months. Now all of a sudden I have a referral. You want to remind them every single month your services, that you do refinances, that you do different types of loans, because sometimes clients don't know that. You want to remind them if there's anything that they need that you're here to support them. You know how great it must feel if you bought a car or you bought a house and somebody's calling you every single month to check in on you and make sure you're good. That's not annoying, guys. They trusted you to close on their home. And for my real estate agents out there, you could take the same approach. I call my past clients every single month. When I was originating, I mean, every single month. I got most of my business as an originator from past clients and listing agents because I was calling all the time. I was just calling everybody on the transaction. Hey, how's everything going? Thank you for trusting us. It was an awesome opportunity. How's, whatever, just chit chat. And then, so past closing is very important. And then obviously canceled loans. It's very important that you're tracking your canceled loans. I think that's absolutely necessary. When I was originating, I remember there was a point where I was 50-50. I mean, I was closing 50% and I was 50% were getting canceled. And it wasn't my fault. You had appraisal issues. You had sellers giving issues and backing out, title issues. Like, if I'm not tracking my canceled loans and I'm seeing, okay, I had 10 closed loans this month, but I had 10 canceled loans this month, and I don't know why they're being canceled, I need to start to reevaluate the process. Now, if I'm looking at my canceled loans and I start seeing, hey, a lot of these is because I dropped the ball, that's very important. So that's why I tell people, get your systems right so you don't drop the ball, because you would hate to have to call your client and say, hey, I dropped the ball. Now, I'm not telling you when the title company or the agent or anybody else drops the ball that you go and, you know, blame them. I'm not saying that. As mortgage brokers and as real estate agents, we need to work together, people. Playing the blame game and this person dropped it, this person dropped that. I've heard it time and time again. It's pointless, okay? Our job is to take care of the client. Blaming people is not solving any solutions, okay? We got to work together. So just wanted to kind of rant off of that for the canceled loans aspect. But seriously, guys, it is very important to manage your canceled loans. If you have 0 canceled loans, you need to give me your secret, because that is pretty freaking impressive. I don't know any mortgage company that has 0 canceled loans. I don't know any agent that does not have clients backing out. So please let me know what is your secret. I would love to learn it so I can teach others. But seriously, guys, that's pretty much it for the smart list that I wanted to show you guys today. On the next video, I'm going to talk about the deals pipeline and how you can automate this as well. So stay tuned for that. But I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, leave a comment down below. Shout out to all my mortgage brokers out there using Follow Up Boss. If you know any other mortgage brokers that are not using Follow Up Boss, get them on the platform. It is the best CRM, in my opinion, for a mortgage broker. Seriously. Anyways, guys, you have a wonderful day. Take care, and God bless.